Rivers, all made possible by the Field of 68. I am Matthew Matthias Cox, running point today for what I would call leg two of championship week. Have a reset here, Mr. Kai, Mr. Jim. A lot of the conference tournaments round one have just concluded. We are now kicking off the opening rounds for the big boys and a lot of the hybrid major leagues. I'll be up front. I don't love the slate today. It's a lot of these playing games of throwaway teams. But hey, Kai, there are some bubble implications, and that's what we're going to try and focus on today. And one courtesy conference championship, the Patriot League. So we'll get patriotic. Thoughts about last night, Jim, Kai? I'll go to Jim first. Jim, I'm going to you. You were at the WCC or the where were you last night?
Yep, WCC.
That's right, WCC.
Matt, I'm not surprised you don't like the slate, considering you made the bold claim that March is not fun yesterday. How dare you? What an absurd statement out of a member of the three-man weave. Yeah, Matt, I was actually pretty impressed with Gonzaga yesterday. They won playing St. Mary's game, only a 66 possession game. Timmy and Holmgren combined for 18. They were not the go-to scorers. It was all Nembhard, all Bolton. So the fact that they won with shooting and scored the most points per possession against St. Mary's in 2 years, playing that slow half-court tempo, basically as St. Mary's wanted them to, that was kind of an eye-opener for me for Gonzaga, the fact they can win in multiple ways. So Kai, a deserved one seed, probably the deserved favorite heading into the tournament. Yep. I think they're fully capable of making that run.
Absolutely. Matt, my takeaway. Hey, first of all, Matt,
what?
This slate is great. It's great.
Remember the Big South today?
Remember the Big South tournament? Big South tournament. Everyone's like, "Oh, these games are going to suck." No, they're awesome.
No, we knew they were going to be good up front. Wrong.
Well, okay. Well, I'm excited for today. Also, we need to talk about Sacramento State, Idaho to kick off the show real quick, just because it starts in 30 minutes. My takeaway yesterday, the conference championship games were lit. Wright State came back from 17 or 18 down. That was incredible. South Dakota State, North Dakota State was exactly what I was hoping it would be. And Delaware finally dislodged the horseshoe, Jim, from UNCW's rear end.
Yeah.
And the hens are dancing. I'm excited. We have an awesome.
You're just not going to mention the Bryant brawl and that great
Bryant
game,
brawl.
The 40. They got 38-6. Kai. They got a
Peter
38-6.
Peter Kiss is the new villain.
Do we like Peter Kiss?
No,
he's the villain. We need a villain. We need a villain.
I think he's Peter Kiss doesn't want me to like him, and I am happy to oblige. I don't like him.
I like Peter Kiss.
I think his drip's a little too forced. It's not organic. Like Marshall Henderson, while hateable, obviously, I felt like the whole land shark villain thing really was genuine. Where Peter Kiss is just trying too hard to be a douche. But we'll litigate that later. Bryant will be dancing. We'll talk about another conference tournament championship, like I mentioned, Navy Colgate Patriot after the first chat mob break. Kai, you're right, though. Let's get real quick into the game that tips off in 30 minutes. Then we'll go into the outline. Sorry, we're throwing a bunch of curveballs at our producers behind the scenes. But, Jim, we got to talk about the opening, the Big Sky Tournament, Idaho Sac State, which tips off at 9:30 local up in Potato Country, Idaho Central Arena. The under has been hit pretty hard, I think, for obvious reasons. Playing basketball games at 9:30 doesn't really exude a ton of energy or zest. So open 143 down to 139. That was my only angle in this game. It was like maybe an underplay, but now I'm not sure there's any value.
Yeah, I lean towards under. Sacramento State just beat them by 30, just absolutely wiped them out late in the season. So I kind of lean towards them as well. Bryce Fowler was just completely unstoppable. They had no matchup for him, but yeah, it's tough to bet that early one because the motivations are difficult. Like it's going to be 8:30 for me. I won't even have breakfast, Kai, by the time they are tipping off. I don't have a strong take there.
I kind of like Idaho. This team can get
Vandals up, baby.
White hot from deep. I don't know. I don't know. Nothing strong, Matt. That's it. Boom.
Outline. Let's get into it. ACC, two-third to start us off. Jim, I'm going to you here first. Clemson versus Virginia Tech. We saw Clemson pick off a basically dead and buried NC State team. I'll be honest, I wasn't overly impressed with Clemson in that game. They had multiple opportunities to just bury an NC State team that was giving away the ball at will, was basically waving the white flag on the defensive boards. However, they are healthier, and we're starting to see signs of the old Hunter Tyson, the old PJ Hull pre-injury, I should say, getting decent play from their guards. Are we buying into maybe a sleeper in Clemson that could make a little run in this tournament against a well-coached and a desperate Tech team on the bubble right now?
You know who thinks Clemson's a sleeper is Clemson alum Terrence Oglesby. He tweeted about it yesterday. I gave him a little ribbing. I was like, hey, maybe you're a little biased here, but I think he has a case. The fact that this team is healthier actually gives them, some undervalued aspect right now. That said, Kai, I just like Virginia Tech. I think they're too well coached. The team, the predictive analytics love them, and I think we could see them trend up to that level in a desperate situation here. Just need to get enough stops. They knock down shots like crazy. Clemson, obviously, considering they haven't been healthy and now they're having to play back to back, there is some question of conditioning there for somebody like Hall, who is out. Tyson as well was out for an extended period of time. So I would go with the Hokies here, but not a best bet. Just a Virginia Tech lean.
Man, Clemson's good at full strength. I liked a lot what I saw yesterday and what I've really seen throughout the year. They're poised. They have experienced guards. Nick Honor is kind of a game changer. I like the way he plays. They have a star in PJ Hall, Matt, a superstar. He is so good, does basically everything on the offensive end. And Hunter Tyson's a 5-tool player. He's back. He's huge for their team. I think Clemson's actually pretty good. I lean them on the number here, but Vatek needs this game. It's a good reminder. They're still the second best team per analytics in this conference, which is nuts. And I think VT can actually match up pretty well with Clemson's mobility. That's kind of Clemson's advantage. Hall gets the other team's big men in space. Aluma can handle that, I think. So I lean Clemson on the number. I think VT wins.
Yeah, -5 basically at every shop right now. I don't really have a strong. The price is about what it should be. I think VT wins. It's a hard team to really put away emphatically. So I wouldn't be excited to lay the points with VT. Maybe VT first half, catching Clemson on the back-to-back. I don't know. Nothing strong. Jim, let's keep on cruising here. Game number 2 in the ACC. Syracuse, Florida State. Big news here. Caleb Mills likely to play from what it sounds like. And I wonder if that's behind the early money that has bet Florida State from -1 to -2.5. Again, these are played at Barclays in Brooklyn, so neutral site for all parties here. I have no take in this game either. Syracuse without their front line obviously gives me the heebie-jeebies. Can they guard anyone? Even a Florida State team that has trouble scoring right now?
Probably not. And Florida State, surprisingly, per synergy better against zones than they are against man by like a full 0.1 points per possession. I was surprised by that. Just I don't perceive Florida State as a really great zone offense. But hey, the data, Kai, you got to trust the data.
Take that for data.
Yeah, there you go. Matt, you mentioned this being a neutral site. Is it New York, Syracuse? There's going to be a ton of Orange fans in the building.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like the other 30 members of the Boeheim family are going to be there cheering for their 3 heroes. Swider can knock down shots. The Boeheims can knock down shots. I actually kind of think they'll get hot and maybe not go on a run, Kai, but at least get to the Duke game, give us a Boeheim versus K clash in the ACC tournament. So I am leaning towards Syracuse against the steam here.
Yeah, we've talked about hot teams, cold teams going into conference tournaments. Doesn't really matter. FSU's won 3 straight. Syracuse lost 4 in a row. I'm not putting a whole lot of stock into that. I know Syracuse front line is done. Florida State probably owns the glass. That's probably true. But they have a total lack of shooting, Florida State. I'm not scared of Florida State shooting over those 2-3. I like teams that can get white hot from deep, Jim, in a tournament setting, and that is Syracuse. So I'm leaning towards Syracuse here. I don't feel good about it. I'm hoping the Boeheims and Mr. Joe Girard just get white hot, Matt.
Yeah, I think we've looked at the data before. I mean, I think Hamilton's had a good track record against Boeheim, which you're right, it doesn't really align with with our perceptions of how Florida State plays, and you wouldn't think they'd be a good zone offense. But historically, they've had success, and obviously against this version, it's going to be pretty easy to score. All right, we're going to Big East country now. The Garden, not so far away from Barclays. St. John's versus our DePaul Blue Demons, Mr. McKeon, who have gotten healthier down the stretch. David Jones and Javon Freeman Liberty, although they played pretty feisty without those dudes earlier. It seems like St. John's is kind of a sexy sleeper pick in this tournament. Do you think this is where they start to, this is like leg 1 of that streak, or are you buying into our Demons catching the Johnnies sleeping?
Yeah, I mean, St. John's has been a sexy pick all season, and it's failed all season. They've underachieved. I think DePaul's pretty good, Matt. I'm not worried about them playing in Madison Square Garden. I don't think there's much home court there for St. John's, especially in a tournament. And DePaul has plenty of athletes, man, to match St. John's. Physically, I think DePaul is the more physical team here. I think they're going to kill the glass. I'm worried about turnovers. St. John's will absolutely turn DePaul over. But DePaul is not little DePaul anymore. DePaul can play with the big boys. Javon Freeman Liberty is a game-breaking type of guard who can take over. So I like DePaul with the points here, Jim.
Yeah, I do too. We talked about Clemson being a little undervalued because they're healthy. I think DePaul's the same way. They played some games without Jones and without Freeman Liberty. And that sunk their rating a little bit. when those guys are both on the floor, they are legit. The other angle I like a lot here, Kai, is the over. It's been bet down and it's a tournament game, so people are skeptical of that. But the first two games had 173 points on 80 possessions and 193 points on 83 possessions, both in regulation, like complete and total shootouts. Both these teams want to get into a track meet. I think that just kind of extrapolates on top of itself. So I'm leaning towards the over, which is pretty rare for me in a tournament game. But I don't know. On the side, Matt, I still like DePaul. I think the health factor of Jones and Freeman Liberty is huge.
Yeah, it should be a fun game. I think of any of the first round big power conference games day, kind of these play-ins, this will be the most exciting just because of the way both teams play. Hopefully it pans out as such. But I'm with you guys. I really have no really strong leans. I guess I do lean toward our Demons with the health, the rejuvenation with Jones and JFL back in the mix. So JFL, thank you. Jiffle. All right, another Big East showdown, Kai. Xavier, Butler. Butler Bulldogs, been a struggle of a season, but we know they're a different team with Bo Hodges. Xavier, Travis Steele, the bubblicious Musketeers, they need this win, and they need probably one more to feel good about their chances. Are you buying into that motivational angle at all for the X-Men?
Dream with me here, Matthew. That angle, that exact angle, everything you just described, that was last year. Butler, Xavier, Big East tournament. Xavier needs to win. They're on the bubble. They can't take a bad loss to Butler, and they lose in overtime. So we are looking at that same thing all over again here. Xavier also, once again, kind of sinking down the stretch. Butler's playing a little better as they get healthier. I fear for the Musketeers here. I don't know that they have been playing that well, Kai, like we mentioned, and Butler, like Matt said, Hodges makes them a lot better. Enzi makes them a lot better. I'm leaning towards the Bulldogs here, maybe playing spoiler 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, if Xavier loses, they might be done. I mean, they've been awful down the stretch. Committee doesn't look at your latest games. What have you done for me lately? But it's going to be in their minds, and the resumes is obviously getting worse as well. And Butler's lost 5 straight, Matt, but they've been more confident. Like Jim said, they're more healthy. Hodges really does matter for this team. The Bulldog is going to be in the building. Blue, he's there in New York. That's a
points.
Huge.
He's
worth maybe 5 points. I would do anything for that Bulldog. Matt, Xavier won by 15 and 2 during the season. That second one, just 2 points. That shows you how Butler's getting better here. I would be a little surprised if Xavier loses one outright. Travis Steele probably deserves to get canned if they lose this outright.
Ooh,
wow. But I do lean towards Butler on the number. Do you not think he does? I think Xavier fans will probably back that up.
I kind of agree.
Have you guys seen like the connections he has? His like in-laws, his parents-in-law are like on the board of trustees, big donors. Nice job security there.
All right.
Yeah. I guess that certainly helps. I thought it was a little bit too high at the opener -6.5. I would have taken Butler. I'm tempted to buy that hook up to 7, but I'm not going to. I'm in no rush.
Just buy it up to 10. Buy it up to 10.
I might just buy it to 20, Jim. So I can't lose at that point.
Minus 4,000.
I think it costs money. Yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense. That's all we got for round 1 of our outline. Let's go to round 1 of Chat Mob questions. Mr. Czar, Jimmy Roots.
I am starting it with my best bet, which is also Big East Sports Tickets best bet. We're going mining, Matthew. The UTEP Miners.
Mine it.
Laying 1.5. That's right. Against Old Dominion. I like having Mr. Keontae Kennedy back in the lineup. They just won over North Texas. Granted, that was at home, but I just think this team is trending up with Joe Golding in a tournament setting. Matt's just going to keep doing it. I love it.
I'm doing it.
So I'm with him here. I think this team is undervalued right now. Basically only have to win in the weird Frisco disco setting. I think a setting that is very conducive to defense, and that is good for UTEP, who is a strong defensive squad with Golding at the helm. I'm with him. UTEP. Let's go Miners. Okay, a few from Jimmy the Bartender. He liked Q's first half, guys. We didn't get into that. Kai, just give me a yes or no. Q's first half.
I don't know. I have no take.
Okay. All right.
I'm not a first half better. I'm not.
Jim, I'll go yes. Jim, I'll go yes.
Okay.
There you
Perfect.
go. Yes.
There we go. Yeah, Matt, we went 2-0 on our first half best bets a couple days ago, so we're experts.
Second halves don't matter. Why do we play second halves? Stop playing them. Overtimes too. Eliminate all of it. Just 20 minutes. Let's get out of there. Break for lunch.
Conference tournament championships yesterday for that answer.
Yeah, a lot of back doors wide open.
Valid response.
Okay, Jimmy the Bartender also asked about a couple games that are coming up on the outline, Stanford, Arizona State, but he wants to put Rhode Island money line in a parlay. I mean, sure. Yeah. Like, why not? They're 9-point favorites.
Yeah,
I would say why include them, honestly. I wouldn't trust Rhode Island at minus anything. That's too volatile of a team. I disagree, Jim. Take it out of the parlay. Be a safer favorite. Then Rhode Island, they could miss 20 free throws and turn over 20 times.
All right, Matt, another team that is laying a similar number to Rhode Island, close to double digits, 9 points. Luke Putnam asked if Vandy -9 is too high against the Georgia Bulldogs and
the
Mr.
Vandy boys.
Mr. kind of dead man walking Tom Crean there. What do you think?
It does feel a little high, but not going to back Georgia here. Just can't do it, especially with the way Vandy's trending. I think from a pure handicapping perspective, this is the time to back Georgia, right? Sort of a reset. You bet these bad teams. If anytime, this is the time to do it. But no, not doing it.
And any take on the total, Matt? The Paris just asked about that. Total at 144 is where it's at.
It's been hit down pretty hard. I need to check like the market trends with Liam Robbins. It seems like they've been taking under money with him back in the fold as kind of an interior anchor. I don't have any strong data evidence to back that up, but I'm guessing that's what explains that money. But I don't personally have a take, I guess.
Okay, Kai, in the Big Ten. We talked briefly about this yesterday. Connor Platt asking about Nebraska, who is red hot, won 3 straight road games against top 100 foes to end the year. We think Bryce McGowan will be back. They're taking on Northwestern. Who do you have in that one?
At +5, I think towards Nebraska. I think Northwestern wins. I know Nebraska's getting some love for an outright win here. Still think Northwestern's a significantly better team, but 5 points. Don't trust Chris Collins at all. I'd probably lean the Huskers.
Yep, I'm a Husker guy. I think they win outright. Kai, I'm part of that chorus.
Wow,
that's okay. Riding the hot Huskers. Matthew, in the ACC, Virginia and maybe zombie Louisville. Maybe they've got some juice this year. They were up 27 in the second half yesterday. Blew out Georgia Tech. Do you think they show some life or some more life, I guess, against Virginia, or is Tony Bennett with a rest advantage and prep time take out Mr. Pegues?
I was trying to figure out if that Louisville thing was Louisville, like we're back, let's just go all in for this tournament run, or was Georgia Tech just completely done with the year? They had 2 guys like in disciplinary.
I think three
guys that just stupid. So I can't make any sense of that game, Jim. I kind of lean Louisville just on a pure number perspective, but it's hard to handicap the situation that's going on right now. So I say it away.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules violations were, but our pal Jordan Majeski speculated that he said it looked like a player was playing impaired, aka like drunk. So I don't know what Georgia Tech was up to. Maybe they were out in New York.
Great. So Louisville beat a drunk Georgia Tech team, we think. Interesting. Okay. Playing drunk is probably worth 10 points.
A lot of stock in it.
Love to hear that.
Kai, the Civil War in the Pac-12, Oregon State. Will Richardson is out. Sounds like Warith Alatishe is back for Oregon State. I read an article said he had been practicing. I kind of like the Beavers. It's crazy, but do you agree?
I like the Beavers too at +9. I would not be shocked if they win this game outright. It's a huge rivalry. Oregon State has been underachieving dramatically all season. They're not supposed to be good, but not supposed to be this bad either. And Will Richardson's enormous for Oregon. Ball handling, scoring, you name it. They haven't looked good down the stretch anyways. So I lean towards Oregon State at +9.
Yeah, taking money.
I'm kind of with you that there's a chance they win outright too. Sorry, Mr. Altman, this just isn't your year. It feels like the one year
Magic again.
It's like Troy Brown, they just kind of flamed out.
That'd be cool.
Couldn't get figured out. All right, Matt, we'll do 3 more before we get back. Yep. I'm giving you Seton Hall, Georgetown. Multiple people asking about this one. Do we get the Big East tournament run from the Hoyas? They also just almost won at Seton Hall to end the year. Now they're getting double digits. What do you think?
No, I think Hall wins. It's a little too big for me to lay, but -10.5 right now. Some money on the under. God, I'm so sick of betting Georgetown unders. Every time I do, they give up 40 points in a matter of 5 minutes. But my numbers, again, do think the under is the right play there.
Okay. All right. Then
my secret.
Your numbers.
My model.
My model.
Right. We've got 2 from Russ, and then we'll get back to the outline. I've got plenty more queued up. Don't worry, folks. So Kai, you get Louisiana Tech and Marshall. Marshall. They had a nice little W yesterday, a cover, one that I actually probably should have made a best bet on the show. Dumb by me not to. But are they trending back up to preseason expectations, or do they get smashed by Louisiana Tech, who smashed them once during the regular season?
Yeah, this is the perfect time for Marshall to basically play like the team we thought they would play like all season. They're a dangerous team in Conference USA, I think, just because they have a lot of talent in their roster. They have Kinsey, who's one of the best players in the conference. I think 8 points is too much against Louisiana Tech.
I would tend to agree, but I don't like trusting Marshall. I don't know.
Neither do I.
That's why I didn't give him as a best bet yesterday, because I don't like trusting him. Matt, his other one, before we get back to the outline, San Jose State and Fresno State in the Mountain West. Fresno laying a bigger number in a low total game. Do you think Mr. Timmy Miles comes to play in the tournament here?
Yeah, well, key thing is that he has Diallo's back in the mix, and that's like absolutely enormous against Mr. Robinson, Rob up front. So I think that gives him a puncher's chance. 13.5, a low total game. I would lean toward the fighting Timmy Miles. Sure. Talk myself into it.
I kind of like the under there with Diallo back and Fresno's pace. That would be my lean in that game. All right, so Avery Smith, the Paris, Scott Brooks, Michael Zhang, plenty of others. We've got your questions queued up. Matt, let's go back to the outline and hit that Patriot. Let's get patriotic. Navy, Colgate. I guess if you're trying to fully buy into the patriotic angle, you're going to take the Seaman, Jim. But Colgate has been nothing Kai loves when I reference that in innuendo fashion. I mean,
you just like saying it a lot. You just like saying it.
I do. Colgate's been awesome, Kai. There's really no way to sugarcoat it. They've been dominant. I don't really want to fade them at all. I think 7's a high number, even though they are at home. Remember, Colgate lost on their home floor. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago, to clinch the Patriot League championship. So maybe there's some demons there that they're trying to vanquish. I think it's too high. I lean Navy. Your thoughts?
Spread's too high. I lean Navy with points as well. Home court advantage again in the conference tournament. Not nearly as much. Navy just played on this floor at the end of February. They kept it close. They're the best defense in the league. So I think they can stick around with Colgate here. Hope Colgate wins. I want Colgate in my tournament for sure over Navy, but 6.5, Jim, too many points.
Yeah, way too high. I saw this and I got the old eyebrow raise. Like, whoa, that's a little high for me. I also like the under. This is one of the few total games, finals, championship games where the under did not get smashed. And I kind of think it should. I think the pace is really slow in Navy games. The way they zone makes it difficult to get up and down. So I like the under. I like the dog. But I'm with you, Kai. I hope we get Colgate in the tournament. I think they're a more fun, more live dog in the early rounds. So back to you, Matt.
The key is Greg Summers had 21 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds last game. He's been in and out of the lineup this season, had 2 injuries, had a setback, played 4 minutes. The most recent game against Colgate, did not play in the first game against Colgate. He is a huge difference maker. So the Raiders have not seen him, and I think he matters a ton for this Navy team. I love Navy, Jim, the more we just talked through it.
Matt, quick question
from like to love.
From Achilles 47. If you have a Navy future plus 600, what do you do? Do you hedge off a little bit? Might depend on the size of your bet, I would say. Like if it's not a big one, it's not life-changing money, maybe just ride it out. But if it's
money
huge,
line is
if it's huge, maybe you hedge some.
Money line is minus 260 to minus 280 for Colgate. So there's a room there to lock in some profits. I would hedge it. I would.
You would?
I think Colgate wins that game.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I think you gotta hedge it.
It's a high price, man. It's a lot. It depends on your bet size.
Yep.
It also should play to a low number too. I think Navy controls the pace, so I guess that could give Navy a better chance to pull off the upset. Yep. All right, next game here. Back to somewhat irrelevant power conference tournament action. Kai, we're going out west. We're going to the desert. Arizona State playing Stanford. This is in Jim's backyard. Talked about how the Sun Devils have been a sneaky wrecking ball as of late, racking up wins down the stretch. They got a little healthier. They've figured out the rotation. Their offense isn't great now, but it certainly isn't the discombobulated mess that we watched earlier in the season. Stanford has just been completely off my radar. I'll be honest. I think I've watched them play once in like the last month. I know Ingram's good, but this rest of this team is just kind of whatever to me. What are you looking at here?
Well, Matt, they've played well like once in the last month, so I don't think you're missing much. They're not exactly demanding to be on your TV screen. I just took this under as a best bet on Saturday, and I thought about running it back, doing it again. It was my final cut from best bet, so I certainly do like the under today. I just don't really think there's going to be much up and down here. The efficiency, both teams have such stout interior defenses, Kai, that it takes away what the other side wants to do. So between the matchup and I think pace will be lower in the conference tournament, I'm liking the under quite a bit, but I didn't lock it in as a best bet. We're keeping volume a little bit low today. So that's where I'm at.
It's been bet up a little bit, Jim. I like that. So for those who want to follow Jim, you get 2 extra points about it.
It got bet up on Saturday too, and those people were
wrong. Kai, your thoughts?
I think the spread's massive. I know it's one hot team versus a stumbling team. And I know Arizona State just won by 9, but they were down 9 in the first half. Stanford's going to own the boards. They did in that last game. A much bigger team here. Arizona State did score at will inside the paint, and mainly their guards. It was guard penetration. Marion Jackson just crushed Stanford's guards and probably will do the same. But it's a high number. It's in the conference tournament. I don't think Stanford is 4.5 points worse on a neutral than Arizona State.
I kind of agree
not
with
right.
Kai.
It's just not right to
I'm
me.
with Kai on that one.
So I lean Stanford.
Gut was like, I want to bet Arizona State against Stanford here, but then now that the money's been bet up so starkly for the Sun Devils, yeah, I'm with Kai. 4.5 is a little bit too high. So similar to like my Chattanooga versus Furman take in the title game there. It's like I want to bet Nooga badly, but I just didn't love the price. So stayed away. Next game on the outline, SEC country. Jim, the flag behind you is upside down for good reason. However, if there's a team you've been competent against the last month, it has been Ole Miss. And the Mizzou Tigers will go against the running Rebs, Land Shark, trying to just cap off the season sweep and potentially playing for Kwanzo Martin's job. Wink, wink. What do we think about this matchup, Jim?
I don't love it. I'm surprised Mizzou has been so good against Ole Miss, considering the mixing defenses that Kermit Davis will throw at them. I do not perceive Mizzou's offense to be very fungible and flexible against different looks. I kind of think Ole Miss gets them back here, Kai, and this is more of a running Rebels game. And look, maybe that is some like anti-bias and anger against my own program, but so take it for what it's worth, I guess, grain of salt. I think it's Ole Miss's game.
I don't trust either team. I think it's going to be gross. Mizzou swept the series here.
Under. I do like that as well.
One of those games was without Jarkel Joyner for Ole Miss, but perhaps, Matt, they just have their number. For whatever reason, some teams just own other teams. I thought this line was a little short, honestly, at the opener, but I'm also not willing to lay points on Ole Miss, especially when they're 0-2 against Mizzou.
Yep, want to reiterate the same data point we've mentioned a couple times. When you have beaten a team twice in the regular season, the rematches or the rubber match, I guess, in the third game in the conference tournament, those teams are 52% against the spread. So there's many times, there is a significant angle to those matchups if they have borne out in the regular season. All right, we're going back west. Some Mountain West action. Jim had to sprinkle one of the MWC games in a Thomas and Mack. Nevada playing New Mexico. Playing game. We talked about how Nevada might be a deep, deep dark horse, given where they were preseason expectations. They're now healthy. We haven't seen them be healthy, and there was a 3 or 4 week span where they were dreadful. So definitely a great buy low, but New Mexico is a team we like too. So what gives?
I like Nevada. New Mexico, not as good away from home, away from the pit, and they're really low on bigs. And J. Allen Tovar, like maybe the only remaining big on their team, did an ankle in the last game. Was apparently in a walking boot, might not play, kind of up for debate there. Taking out even like any of they just have nothing left inside. I think that's big for Warren Washington, could potentially roll inside for Nevada. And Kai, they can match the Sherfield Cambridge duo, can match the House Mashburn scoring. So I like Nevada there.
Yeah, I think Nevada is going to be dangerous in this tournament. I think we've said on a couple shows. They're healthy. That's enormous. They have a huge front court edge. We know New Mexico's depleted there. Washington's back. Will Baker's there. Odds makers, Matt, properly shading this game away from your Ken Palms of the world. Ken Palm made this game 2. Mm-hmm. That's too low. 6 though, that's a little bit too high for me.
That's a fair point.
I know Grant Sherfield's best player on the floor. I love guards in March, and he fits every single bill of a Cinderella guard. But 6 is a little bit too much.
I'm with you. Same thing with similar to the Arizona State Stanford take, right? I just gut wants me to back in that. I think they're a great buy low in this tournament, but 6 with the money pushing it up from 4.5, I think that's a little bit too rich. So I stayed away. That's all we got. It's Chat Mob round 2. Plenty of time to run through with the rest of the slate, Jim. So keep us going. I'll try and scour the later questions as well. So you don't.
We're good. Kai, we'll go to you first in the A10 from Avery Smith, St. Joe's and LaSalle. St. Joe's a slight favorite here. I mentioned to you guys in our chat yesterday, Taylor Funk is out for the season. Well, he's out for 6 weeks. So if they make the national title game, maybe he could come back in a cast, but I think that's unlikely. I still kind of lean the Hawks. Jordan Hall's the best player on the court. I don't trust LaSalle, but I don't know. It's tough to do it without Funk. What do you think?
I lean St. Joe's as well, but that sucks for St. Joe's to have him out of the game. I don't like LaSalle. I don't think they're very good. So I lean towards the Hawks.
Yeah, there's a point in the year
also
where
pointing out that Clifton Moore may not play today, who's been like a monster for them. So
for LaSalle,
that negates Funk for LaSalle, right? So 2 big injuries on the front.
It helps.
Both sides. It certainly helps.
There's a point in the year where Funk was like a 60, 50, 90 guy. I mean, that's just absurd.
Lights out, dude.
Like tough to lose that. Okay, from the Paris, Matthew, Sam Houston and Cali Baptist. Sam Houston laying 3. The Baptist barely got it done last night, 1-1 in a squeaker against UT Rio Grande Valley. I know you're kind of liking them with Reed Nottage healthy. Are you backing them today on a back-to-back?
I was close. Thought the price was actually shaded pretty effectively in Cal Bap's favor. So I stayed away. I think gut screams Cal Bap. I think they're, like I said, they match up well with Sam Houston now that they're healthier, deeper. I would lean that way.
Up to 3.
Up to 3. Kai, in the SWAC, Scott Brooks wonders why Alcorn's only getting -1 as the 1 seed against the 8 seed Prairie View A&M. This is kind of a mentor versus mentee in the coaching situation. I like Prairie View. I kind of like them to make a run this tournament. Preseason expectations bet. That's what it is for me, Kai.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were expected to win the league or at least get close to it. They're still among the most talented teams in this conference. Nothing's changed. I think the line is correct. I think Prairie View gets the win.
All right. Twofer from Michael Zhang, Matthew. A lot of people asking about Washington State and Cal. Man, do we get a trending up from Washington State? That's another team that maybe could hit preseason expectations. Cal still without Andre Kelly. What do you think?
Yeah, 8 feels too high for me. For an offense I don't fully trust, especially knowing Cal can be feisty at times. I think that's the right side. But again, on a total of 125, a game that could easily just turn into a 1 or 2 possession rock fight, I'm not going to lay it.
All right. And then his other question, Kai, was Eastern Washington and Northern Arizona in the Big Sky, the 6-11 matchup here. I know Matt has a little future on Northern Arizona with Mr. Jalen Cone. Are you buying that? Do you think EWASH takes care of business?
Yeah, I think EWASH takes care of business. NAU might cover 7.5, but I don't think they're winning this game, Matthew. I'm sorry.
Feels shootout-y. Sure. I think there could be some scoring on both ends, but perhaps NAU slows it down so much. That can't happen. Matt, Nash 2 asking if he should take the points with Air Force against Utah State.
I kind of think so.
I do too. I think that team is a feisty dog. Was it 2 years ago when they made a mini run in this tournament?
Yep.
Joe Scott, they're a tough team to prepare for. They beat Utah State once in Utah State's worst offensive performance. So you're with that?
Yeah, and I think they were fading down the stretch. So maybe a little bit of reset, rejuvenation, playing closer to the team that we saw in non-con, which was a covered darling there for a good 7-week span.
Yep. Speaking of covered darlings, Kai, from Ryan Abramowitz, Delaware State has been a covered darling down the stretch. I believe they covered like 10 of their last 12. They were 0-12 straight up, but they covered 10 of those games. Now they're a big dog against Norfolk State in the quarterfinals. I kind of think that's what happens again. I think they hang around and they lose.
Yeah, 16.5 is too much, I think, in a conference tournament game. I know Vermont just beat NJIT by 1 billion. It could definitely happen, but I think there's probably better value in the dog.
We got a couple questions about games that are best bets. I'm going to holster those just for the tension. Matt, in the ACC, Dre Montgomery asking about Wake and Boston College. Wake probably out of the tournament if they take a bad loss here. Their non-conference strength of schedule is just poor. They're laying double digits to BC. Feisty dog. What do you think?
I am this close to adding BC as a best bet from the hip. I just looked at the spread again. I was like, 10? Really? Boston College looked pretty good yesterday. I know that was largely aided by Pitt's disaster, but it's a team that hasn't really been healthy all year, Kai. Quentin Post was in and out of the lineup lately. That Brevin Galloway was also not 100%. And I just think Earl Grant in tournament setting, I know Forbes is a great coach, but I think 10's too many. That's where I'm at. I like BC.
Fair enough. Matt, going right back to you for a SWAC question. I won't make Kai do 2 SWAC ones.
Thanks.
Scott's asking about Texas Southern and Jackson State. Weird
Stay away.
Coaching
Stay
situation with Jackson State, right?
Also, yeah, that too, with Wayne Brent, the King of Drip, as Mid-Major Madness calls him, on his way out there. Any team that pressures in the SWAC has a chance against Texas Southern because they have zero concept of ball security and protecting the basketball. So if you're going to pressure them, you have a chance. It's just such a volatile game to bet pre-flop. Maybe in-game bet if you want to in-game bet a SWAC game.
In-game SWAC. Texas Southern's all about scoring at the rim too, and McInnes is like the best interior defender the SWAC has had in like 20 years. So it's maybe a tougher matchup. Kai in the MAC. Stephen Fazer wants us to hit Peters and Fairfield. No Jake Wojcik yesterday for Fairfield. Still rolled over Canisius. Impressive. Apparently he was in a boot I would not expect to see him out there today. Does that change the handicap for you, or what do you think?
Yeah, a bit. I probably am not going to jump on Fairfield anymore, but I liked him +5, all things equal. I think any dog in the MAC is probably the way I'm going to lean in this tournament, except against Iona.
Yeah, exactly. Except against Iona.
Yep. 2-pack from Ryan A. We're holstering his UMBC question. We'll hit that. Don't worry. Rice and Charlotte, Matthew, in the Frisco Disco. I've kind of said it, I think maybe yesterday, but I'm pretty close to betting auto betting unders in this tournament. They were 2-0 yesterday. It's just a weird venue. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, I also lean under. No take on the side though. So I want to watch this tournament to see what the vibes are. Jim, I know we're always kind of keen to what's the Frisco Disco backdrops going on there. All the gimmicks.
I did slightly lean to Rice. Without Olivari, they haven't been that good, but they had a couple blowouts that really depressed their predictive rankings. I think they're better than where they're rated right now. Okay. What else we got? We hit Northern Arizona, Eastern Washington. Jim, why is that there? Okay. Leg show. Kai, he wants to know about Vermont 1H against Binghamton. Do we hit them? Do we hit them hard? Do we hit them early and just let them blow teams out as they have been doing?
21.5. First half, I don't know. I guess I lean towards
spread first half.
I guess I lean Vermont. Full game, I kind of lean towards Binghamton at 21.5. Can Vermont keep beating teams by 30? I don't know.
I do too. Yeah, Binghamton probably lucky to be here. Got a benefit of a
they are
goofy moving screen call that negated a game tying New Hampshire 3. But Jacob Falco back matters, and that could help him backdoor. Yep.
He had a monster game last game. Yeah, he's huge.
Yep. All right. Scott asked about McNeese State. I like McNeese. They've lost 9 of the last 11, but their only 2 wins are against Northwestern State. I think they take care of business there. They're far more athletic. They're bigger.
Yep,
dominate the glass.
Coming off that 4 overtime loss to Houston Baptist, so I don't think there's any wear and tear from that, but just noteworthy, I guess.
Yep. Okay, let's hit best bets, guys. I think that's everything. If something else pops back up, we can hit them. But I will start with my best bets. I already gave UTEP -1.5. Miners laying points there. I think they're undervalued. And then Penn State, Minnesota under. Another one I have taken as a best bet previously. Going back to that I think the Big Ten tournament will be a very slow affair. Neither team is going to score very efficiently. So under 125.5 between Penn State and Minnesota. I'm hitting that. Kai, let's go to you.
Utah Valley. I'm hoping I get the 3 here, but let's see where it's at right now. It is 3. Haha. Joke's on you, odds makers. Plus 3 for Utah Valley. One of the biggest teams in the country against the second smallest team in the country in Abilene. AMAC should eat. He did have 20 and 10 in the first matchup, so I have no problem doing it again. Abilene fouls at the highest rate in the country, or just about. They're going to send Utah Valley to the line a lot. Their big men should get in foul trouble. And then finally, Trey Woodbury made an unexpected appearance for Utah Valley last game against Chicago State off the bench. It's wild. He was their leading scorer last year. He is their primary ball handler. Those are 2 things Utah Valley has been terrible at this season, and he helps both immensely. So I think Utah Valley +3 is a steal. I'm concerned about turnovers. Woodbury, Matt, helps that out. Boom.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
the ball handling, getting some extra back is big against Abilene. All right, Matthew, let's hit yours.
Yeah, we're going to be Beehive boys together, Mr. McKeon. I'm on Utah, the Utes, fighting Craig Smiths. It's been a tough year in Utah. Basically going to piggyback the same angle I'm taking with a lot of these opening round games. Reset button, big coaching advantage here. However, I will mention that Smith has not fared well against Hopkins. I keep going back to that game when he was at Utah State and he played Hopkins in the first round of the tournament. And I was stunned that they were ill-prepared against that zone. But we're 2-3 years down the road, different teams. They're playing more man in Washington now. So it's like a different handicap altogether. I think the line's just insane. I think Utah, anything up to pick would be worthy of investment. I think it's 2 right now. So I'll lock in +2.
I think you got 2.5.
2.5. I'll take the hook. I won't need it, but I'll take it. Thank you.
Washington taking money, Matthew.
You're not going to buy it to 3, Matt?
Tempted to. I'll take 2. I don't need it. I'll take it at 2.5. And then my second bet, Hartford +4, playing the Retrievers of UMBC. Hartford got 2 huge pieces back last game. Moses Flowers, Austin Williams, both, I would say, 2 of their top 4 players. They're still without Hunter Marks, but they got Kimbrough back. They got their interior forcer up front. I just think they're the better team. I know it's at UMBC, but +4 doesn't justify that sort of shade for the home court. I just think the odds makers have UMBC overrated and Hartford underrated, and I'm on the other side of that. So simple for me.
Yeah, Matt, I agree fully there. And there's the desperation angle as they might leave Division One.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of have the same, I don't know, like the Bellarmine type angles where you're playing with house money in a situation when there's no postseason. I kind of like backing those teams.
Yep. A little less
also like the
pressure.
under there too, just a little less throw in.
There you go.
Under.
Right. Matt, let's have you answer Portland State versus Idaho State real quick. Matt Arch asked about Porty State laying 4.5 in Boise in that tournament.
Yeah, shout out to the portlandstate.com sports website for actually reporting on injuries, but did mention that Davian Squire and Michael Carter got hurt. Carter got hurt last game. Squire missed last game. Those are two of their three best guards. I know they're deep, but that matters. However, I don't really trust Idaho State to take care of the ball regardless. So I stayed away. But if you want to bet it, make sure you know about those two dudes.
Yeah, I thought that the Portland State trend up late was entirely due to Squire becoming a huge piece. So if he's out,
they've also started pressing a little bit less too. Coburn talked about that. So he's made some adjustments after we didn't really give him credit based on his preseason. I don't eat breakfast.
I actually love that. I gave him too much
I didn't like
that.
No, I downed as I was a 2-point knock. I was like, this guy doesn't have air conditioning. That's not an intelligent move. You need to have air conditioning in your car. It's a wild play.
All right. Yeah, I think that's
it. Yep. We'll sign it off. We're back tomorrow. Same time. An earlier tip this week with conference tournaments starting earlier than usual, 10 a.m. Central.